Hey everybody, so finally we are live and really excited for today. This is Joshua from the DevRel team at Aviyel. So today's episode is about open source Spotlight. So this series we are featuring different open source projects. We'll probably have maintainers and code contributors who will talk about the journey and talk about the project and show how it works, like a quick demo of how we can get it, use the project and get started, and also how we can contribute to their open source project. So today we have Cizmar from Cizmar. So he is really interested to show his project Tolgee.io. So we'll be talking about it and he'll be giving a quick demo. And he has been working since as a full stack developer since 2008. So that adds a lot of experience, and hopefully we'll get to learn a lot of things from his journey and why he started Tolgee and what is that specific thing with Tolgee solves. So yeah, all to you, Jan. So it's yours.
Hello, thanks a lot for having me here. I'm gonna show my screen. Hopefully it's gonna work. And yes. So I'm founder of Tolgee. My name is Jan Cizmar, and today I'm going to show you how you can localize your web application or other software using our tool called Tolgee. And let's jump into it. So what is Tolgee? Tolgee is open source tool which is simplifying the web application localization process as much as possible. Nice definition, but what localization is and why do you need it? So basically there are two terms, internationalization and localization. Maybe if you ever developed some software which was like translated to different languages, you ever used some libraries like INT libraries, INT next maybe, or maybe some specific library for your framework or language. So the I18N is a shortcut for or abbreviation for internationalization, and it means that your software is basically prepared to be translated in the future. So it's able to consume new languages, new translations provided by some translators. In the other hand, localization, L10N, means the actual process of translating the software to the different language. And also, it also can mean like adapting the software to some cultural differences. So maybe if you are gonna sell something in like different culture, you may be gonna change your sense of humor, maybe a little bit change images and the graphical part as well. So it's not only the translation, but it also can be the adapting to the different culture or region. So if you ever localize some software, then you are probably familiar with formats like this JSON. It's basically you have some keys and you have some values in the language. This is JSON format. It's pretty common in modern JavaScript frameworks to translate the applications. And it's pretty simple. While there are keys, which are the identifiers of string in the web application, and there is a key, which is the actual translated value. And you have for each language you have one JSON, where the localization data are stored. There are also other formats. This is .po format, which is from getText standard, and it also has some metadata, like for example from which line in the code the string is taken, or there are some comments and such. And there is also XLIF format, which is like XML based, but it's the same kind of thing. It stores the localization data in source language and in target language. So that's basically what localization and internationalization is in context of software development. And now let's look on the base standard localization process, which is still followed in many companies in the world, and it's something we want to change in Tolgee. So it's like the state which we would like to improve. So there are like three reasons why you want to manipulate the localization data. First reason is when you are adding new keys. So basically you are working on your application, and you need to add some string to the application. So you go into code and add some localization key to the code. You can use some library for that, but it's always basically the same, that you are putting the key like for some library in the code. And then you have to add also the key into the localization data and translate it to your mother language. And when it's translated, you have to rebuild the application or refresh your browser or something to check if it's translated correctly and everything works fine, if the layout is not broken and such. So that's something you do every time you add something. You are doing this every time you're adding some key to the code. When you are modifying translation, maybe some manager tells you this is wrong, we have to change it to different value. So if you are a developer, first of all, you have to find out which key is it, because there can be like more translations, more same translations for multiple keys. So you don't know exactly which key is it always. So you have to find which key is it. Then you have to again go to the localization files, edit it there, and then you have to rebuild and again check if it's not broken. And this is something you're doing for every change. And the problem is also that only developers can do that, because not translators don't know how to work with version controlling systems. So this could be very annoying task for developers, because there can be a lot of mistakes in the translations. So this could be annoying and boring task for developers. And the worst scenario is when you are letting translators to translate your app. Then you have to take all the localization data you already have and send the data via email to the translators. And that's the mother of all problems with wrong translations and problem with localization, because the translators don't know where the keys are in the page, so they just have to guess the context of the specific string they are translating. So they probably gonna guess something, they're gonna tip where it is in the page, and they are gonna produce sometimes wrong translations because they just didn't know. So okay, they produce the data, they take them back, they send the data back via email to you, and the developer just takes the data and put them into the code. So this is something you do for every release. Every time you have like bunch of translations or new feature with bunch of translations which have to be translated. So this is something you do pretty often. And now I'm going to show you actually how Tolgee is changing the thing, and how the process can be like simplified with Tolgee. So I have an example app here, and this is some kind of application which is written in React, and it's something like to-do list. It's list what I want to pack with me to some trip. And even on this like simple page, there are like few texts to translate. There is this title, there is the subtitle, there are a few delete buttons, and there's also some other buttons like share and such. So if I'm going to switch it, for example, to Deutsch, then you can see what changed and how many things are translated on the page. And when I have Tolgee set up, which I have, then I can hit my Alt key, and when my mouse is over some translated text, it highlights. So I can see what's translated, and I can click on that. And when I click on that, quick translation dialog shows, and I can directly in the application change the string. even without editing some localization data, even without opening it on some editor, even without extracting the keys from the code. I just click and it's there. So that's one way how I can change translations. And also there is a second, maybe more important way, and that's this localization platform, which is the core product. That's Tolgee. It's called Tolgee. And in the localization platform, when I log in, I can see a dashboard like this, where I have my projects, and now I'm working on my React example app. So I'm gonna go here, and as you can see, I changed the on the road title, and I added these ellipses here. So directly when I changed it in the application, it's the change is propagated also to the platform. So there is one single source of truth for the translations, and we don't have to synchronize it anyhow. It just synchronized automatically. It's the translations in development mode are downloaded directly from the REST API of the platform. So when I'm gonna change it here, it's also propagated here. So now I have like the explanation marks also here. So that was the second case. That was the actual modification of translation string. But maybe most common scenario when we are adding some translations is when we are actually adding a new key. So when we are, as a developers, most often in most times we are just adding new keys. So now I'm going to show you how to add new key. This is the source code of the application. It's written in React, as I said. So this is JSX, but it works in a very similar way in every framework. So if you are using Angular, Svelte, or Vue, it's pretty similar, and you can find documentation on our website. So don't worry if you are not familiar with React. And to add new key, I'm just gonna copy this this H2, and I'm just gonna rename it to, for example, new key. And I don't need, this was default value and I don't need it, so I just remove it. And when I save it, I can go back to the application, and now I see I have this new key added. So yeah, there is a poll if you are familiar with React. So you can vote. And when I added new key, I clicked with Alt on the key, and I can translate it now. So I can translate it to English as new key. And now I can hit create, and it's there. It's saved in the platform, and I directly see that how it looks like, that the layout is not broken. I didn't have to go anywhere else. I just stayed in the application, and that for me as a developer is it. I don't have to edit some localization data and anything. So now the key is also propagated here, and developers or translators can work on it. Where it is? Yeah. So this is my new new key. Another cool feature we just released is that keys can be translated automatically. So when I edit the new key, it was actually automatically translated to all the languages we support. So there is also French, German, and Czech translation by default, and I can see it was translated automatically by Google Translator, which I can also change in the settings, where I can set different primary service to translate. So it was translated by, it was translated by Google. So that's another cool feature. And how you can integrate it? That's a pretty important question, because it's pretty easy. Only thing you have to do to integrate it to your application is that you have to install Tolgee integrations. We have, as I said, integrations for many popular JavaScript frameworks. So when you want to integrate it, you can go to the platform to integrate section. And there you can just choose the technology. Here I have React, so I am going to follow the React guide, and I can just follow this. So first of all, I have to install the packages. Then I have to set up my environment where I put API URL and API key. And then I have to just wrap my application code with this Tolgee provider. And that's basically it. So that's what I have done here. And when I'm set up, I can translate it directly in the application. When I'm preparing the application for production, then the API key for this development.local is not used because it's just for my local development, this environment. So when I'm building the application for public, there will be no API key. That's why there is this static data property, which contains imports of the data which were extracted in Tolgee platform. So when I want to extract the data, I can go to this export section and export it here. Take the data which came in JSON format, and it looks like this. So I got all the data exported. So I can just copy the data into my source code, like here. So I can take it from here and copy it to my source code. Then I want to replace everything. And now when I'm going to comment out the API key, which has the same effect as building it without the environment set. And when I'm going to refresh it, then when I hit my Option key or Alt key on Windows, then it doesn't highlight, and I cannot translate it in the app directly. So my application is basically prepared for production. When I don't want to use this export format or export form when I'm exporting the data, I can use REST API endpoint, and I can do that in my CI pipeline. So I don't have to do that manually. We, for example, in Tolgee are doing that in our CI pipeline, and when the application is built for production, then the data are automatically downloaded from our REST API. So it's pretty automatic, and you don't have to think about that. So yeah, the application is now prepared for production. Maybe I can show you more about the platform. Also, when you are working with translations, you can also, if you are a translator or reviewer, you can also review translations. So you can mark them as reviewed. And you can also filter that translations in each language have some specific state, like translated or reviewed, or if the translation is missing. And you can also comment on translations. So when you have something, for example, this is wrong, and you want to tell your colleagues that there is something wrong with this translation, you can leave them comment. So that's pretty much it. And also, if you're translating to different than the base language, here in this project, English is our base language, then you can see suggestions from machine translations from Google and AWS currently. So the actual translating process could be very simple. And also, I forgot one more important thing. When you are adding new key, you can also, now it doesn't work because I commented out the API key. So I'm going to add it back. And now, yeah, when I open this translation dialog, I also can take screenshot of the application, which is the thing about the context. By creating the screenshot and uploading it, I'm adding context for the translators. So when translator is translating to different languages, then he can just or they can just check how it looks like in the application, and they know the specific translation, the specific string is in this place. So this is very important for them because they really need to know where it is to understand the content of the context of the application. So that's pretty much it of the demo. Maybe last important feature which we support now is also that you can turn the translating even on production when it's built without the API key. So again, I'm going to comment out the API key, and when I refresh it, I cannot translate again. Now I'm hitting my Alt key and it's not highlighting, so in context translation doesn't work. But I can enable it by using this Chrome Tools plugin. So it's Tolgee Tools plugin for Google Chrome, and I can just provide here my API key and enable that. And now, again, the in context works, which is something anybody from your team can do, even people who cannot run the application on their local machine, even translators like external clients, anybody who has access to the Tolgee platform can generate the API key and use it for in context translating even when the application is on production. So when they edit it, then they can just turn it off. It goes back. The translations are not immediately on the production, but they are stored in the platform, and with next release they can be like the application can be built with the new translations. So that's how anybody from your team can actually work on the translations. So that's the demo, and now again I'm going to go through the process with Tolgee. As you can see, the process of adding new key was pretty much easier because we don't have to edit some data, some localization files. We don't have to use some special editor. We just click in the application and save it. When we are modifying translation, then again, anybody from the team can do that. And it's easy as alt-clicking and saving the data in the dialog. So again, pretty easy. And when you are letting translators to translate your app, you can just send them link to the platform and tell them translate it, and you are done. And also, it's helping them with the machine translation. So then it's pretty easy. So, and also they have the context from the screenshots. So the whole process is much safe and much easier. So now let's talk about the story, how we came up with the story, how I came up with the story, and how it evolves. So somewhere in 2016, I worked in a company, and we developed some software for lawyers. And lawyers like a lot of data, a lot of inputs, and a lot of forms to fill, and in every form we have been working on, there was a lot of inputs and a lot of labels, and the labels were actually translations. And the most common bug or common mistake in the team was that the developers forgot to add the translations, because translations was always something we did as just before deadline, because that was the boring, repetitive task, which was like painful, and no one wanted to do that. And we were like thinking about how we can delegate this task to anybody else from the team. And we find out that it's not possible, because the people from the team, like the interns or people who are not developers, can't just work with VCS like Git. So they can't just download the code and commit something, because this was something they were not developers. And also it was hard for them to, like, if you tell them change the string, they didn't know which string is it, because there were like same values for different keys. So again, that was not possible, and I was thinking like for some time how to do that, how to make them possible to do that, and I was thinking like how to make them able to edit the strings directly in the application. And then after a few years, I had the idea how to do that. Basically, how I can create something like that we can like create universal solution for web applications where it would be possible to edit the strings directly in the application. And somewhere in 2019 time was coming to work on my master thesis on university, and then there I found advisor who was into advising my thesis on this topic. And somewhere in November 2019, I did my first commit to project called Polyglot, which was the formal name of Tolgee. Because Polyglot wasn't that cool name in opinion of my team, so we decided to rename it to Tolgee. And then in 2020, in July, that was like before when the thesis were done, it was working with first real project, so it actually worked, and they were happy about that. So in March 2021, last year, we decided to also issue a company doing this, creating just this tool. So it's a company called Tolgee with the same name, and we are doing just this tool for localization. So we don't do anything else, and it's 1 year now. So it's actually an anniversary. We started like first March last year. Yeah, and in November last year, we created our first public release, which we really meant to be public. Polyglot was public, and it was developed as on GitHub as open source tool, but I never promoted it or marketed it. And in November 2021, so before like five months, we started to promote it a little bit and started to work on some marketing as well. So that's basically the story of Tolgee. And now something more interesting, something from development or how you can actually use it, how you can deploy it. So you can deploy it on your local machine with Docker or Java. You can use self-hosted instance, so you can like self-host it on your own infrastructure, or you can use our cloud, which I recommend because our cloud is something we want to generate profit from. So if you don't want to carry about how it's, if you don't want to care about how it's deployed and what servers you need for that, and you don't want to pay for your own engineers to to deploy it on your infrastructure and to keep it updated, and you can just use Tolgee Cloud and you have everything done. And we also have free plans, so for smaller projects it's completely free. And yeah, you can find everything you need to self-host it in our documentation, in docs, self-hosting, and running with Docker section, where you can find the simple command you can run on your local machine, and it's gonna just run. You can play with that. It's gonna start without authentication enabled, so you can just get it into it, and you can work with that without any configuration. But if you would like to deploy it on your own infrastructure, then you can use our prepared Docker Compose, and in configuration section, there is a lot of configuration options you can adjust to make it fit your needs. So it's pretty configurable, and it should work with any environment running Docker. And also, if you don't want to use Docker, you can run it just with Java. So yeah. The future. So what is coming? We just released this translation memory and machine translations features, which was a huge task we have been working on like for 2 months. So now it's down. Now it suggests from Google Translator. Now it can automatically translate your new keys, and you have like visual feedback how it was translated and such. So this was pretty important. Also, in the future, we would like to support mobile or desktop apps, which we currently don't support. Like natively, we don't have our integrations for mobile or desktop apps, so you can like use it for that, but you don't have such cool in context editor, which is probably not going to be even possible when we provide the integrations, but we can somehow help you even with that, like maybe with some kind of highlighting of the string, or maybe synchronizing the strings stored in the source code of the desktop or mobile application with Tolgee Cloud. So it can be even in this case it can be helpful. And we also want to provide more tools for translators, like UA-check statistics or like task assigning. So if you would like to, if you have a bunch of translations and you would like to be translated by some specific translator, then you would be able to create some task and assign it to some translator. And also, we would like to create some plugins for Figma or XD, where you would be able, or designers would be able to add the localization strings directly in the software for designing like XD or Figma. So basically, then the developers are not going to be even involved in the whole localization process, because everything localization related would be done by somebody else if they want to do like that. So yeah, that's the future. And now let's look on the similar tools on the market. There are many of them. There are many of proprietary tools on the market, like maybe you know Crowdin, because Crowdin is targeting on open source projects, but it's not open source itself. So yeah, that's kind of like something similar philosophy like GitHub has. So on GitHub there is a lot of open source projects, and it's like it's place where basically all the open source software is developed, but GitHub itself is not open source. We would like to be like GitLab. GitLab is open source, and many companies are using GitLabs for their project management of Git projects. So we would like to create something like GitLab for localizations. And there are many more tools like Localize, Phrase, and others, but they are not targeting that much on the in-context localization. Some of them support in-context localization, but it's not always bulletproof. It's just like you can add something to your some snippet to your page, and then it's going to somehow find which strings are related to which key, but it's never working super correctly. Tolgee is really like bulletproof, so because it has its own integrations, which also the other tools don't have. Even Weblate or Pontoon are not targeting into on the open source. They are open source, but they are not targeting into the in-context localization. So they're cool tools. They are open source, and they are acceptable. They are working with a lot of formats. At least Weblate. I know that Weblate is pretty nice tool, working with a lot of formats, but it's not reshaping the localization process as much as Tolgee. And Pontoon is the tool from Mozilla, and Mozilla is using that for community translations. So it's more about community translating of Mozilla products. But again, it's also a cool product, and I think they supported in context translations before, and they decided to drop this feature. I don't know why, but they are not supporting it anymore. So that's basically the other tools and the market with that. So now how you can contribute. So yeah, there is many ways how you can contribute on any contribute to any open source project. first of all, you can use Tolgee and give us feedback. We really want to hear your feedback, and if you have any enhancement, any bug report, anything we can make better to make you feel better with Tolgee, then just tell us, because we really want to know, and don't be afraid. You can also write about Tolgee, which would be really cool. We can write some reviews, some comparisons, or some tutorials. If you don't know what to write about, just ping me and just send me an email, and we can find something suitable for you. It could be great for you to maybe to learn something new, and maybe to like improve your skills. You can learn how to simply localize any project you are working on. So, and we would be really happy for that. And if you would like to code, maybe you find some bug and you would like to fix it yourself, or maybe you would like to improve our documentation, which would be pretty nice as well, then just go for it. Or if you would like to code to improve your skills in Kotlin or in TypeScript, then just ping me. Again, we can find something you can work on, and it's going to be pretty helpful for us. So that was it. This is my email, so cizmar@tolgee.io. So if you would like to contact me to provide us the feedback, or if you would like to contribute, then just send me an email. If you would like to check our documentation, then everything you need can be found on tolgee.io. And this is our GitHub page, github.com/Tolgee, where we will be pretty happy if you like our project, start our projects, and also you can check out which projects we are working on, and you can find the source code of Tolgee platform or Tolgee.js, which is the monorepo of Tolgee integration there. So yeah, that's basically it from the presentation, and now it's time for your questions. Thank you for your attention.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Jan. Thanks for taking time and giving us a great presentation. I think that that sums up the whole use case of Tolgee, and also we'll be sharing this whole recording, like post this event. So maybe within a week we'll be posting this on our YouTube channel. So if anyone has missed something, or if anyone wants to rewatch this whole event, so you'll be getting the updates like on the socials. So we have one question. So could you share some more points on how Tolgee is different from Pontoon?
From Pontoon?
Yeah.
No, because I don't know. I don't know Pontoon, but I think that the most common difference, the core difference, is that Tolgee has its own integrations, which Pontoon I think doesn't. But I checked Pontoon like 3 months ago, so I don't know how it developed. But I think there is different philosophy, because Tolgee is a tool which is like tightly coupled with the in-context localization principle, and the whole philosophy is different. It's just reshaping the localization process, as I explained. And I think Pontoon is another, I don't want to say but it's like another localization platform where you like upload files and you can translate there, and then you download the files, which is kind of like standard way how it's done these days. So I think this is the core difference. And I see question from Rahul.
Okay. Yeah. So there. Yeah. Another question. Yeah. What are the languages, frameworks that you have used in Tolgee?
Yeah, we are using Kotlin and Spring Boot on backend for backend development, and on front end we are using React and Material UI. We are using Postgres as database, and know what else to mention. There is a lot of libraries we use. Maybe also it's important to mention that Tolgee uses ICU message format for translations, and I maybe forgot to show you. There is a documentation about ICU message format, and it's pretty common question when I have presentation that if, for example, we support plurals and such. So yes, we do. If you would like to store some more complicated strings, some more complicated values like plurals, you can, and Tolgee supports that. So you can perfectly format your messages with that. And this is just standard for Unicode. This is from Unicode. This is not something we invented. And if you never worked with ICU message format, maybe you should, and you are localizing your application, then you maybe then just learn more about it, because this is something which can save you a lot of time.
Yeah. So there's, I think, one more question about the roadmap. I don't know if you answered, but can you tell if the roadmap is publicly available or anyone can access this one?
Yes, there is roadmap on our webpage here in the menu. Is the roadmap button, and there you can see our roadmap, and also on GitHub in the Tolgee server project. There is where it is projects here. So it's not here. So we basically do everything in the project. So every task which is open is there as an issue. So most of the issues are created by us, and it's like part of the roadmap. But I think there was something like projects, and there was like Kanban board somewhere. Yeah, here. So in here you can see what we are working on and what we have done and what's closed. So yeah, it's publicly available.
Awesome. Great. I think that sums up the whole event. So so how many people are working right now, and how many contributors you have? Can you share more about it within your team?
Yeah, we are 4 people in the team, 2 developers and 1 graphical designers, and 1 person working on marketing and other activities. And we have, I think, like 2 contributors now, like from external world, because we have been pretty quiet till now. So there wasn't much space for looking for contributors and for helping them, with the beginning with the project. But at least we have some contributors now who are helping us with at least like reporting bugs and with the documentation, which is pretty cool. But I think it's gonna take some more time to like find really coding contributors.
Great, that's awesome. I think that's it. I don't think we have any more questions. And yeah, thanks, Jan, for taking your time. And hopefully, we would like to hear more in future about the project and how it's progressing. Hopefully, we'll have more sessions, and we'll let the community know about this project so they can contribute or help the project in some or the other way. So thanks for coming on, Aviyel, and see you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks a lot for coming to all. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Have a great day, everybody.